Welcome. In this chapter, we'll discuss succession, adaptation, and nutrient recycling. So, our first question here is: a plant which grows on another plant without apparent host harm to the host plant is called? The answer is an epiphyte. So, what's an epiphyte? So, epiphyte uh, actually, let's take epiphytism in animal first is called commensalism, but in plants they call them epiphytism. And this system, these animals are called epiphytes. Okay, these ones that they live on other things, but they don't harm them, but they live on it for support. So, right, epiphytes they only they derive support from their host because they can manufacture their own food, and this support is by getting water. Understand? So they would grow into their host to get water and also to get mineral salts. Their host have roots inside the ground, so they can tap water and mineral salt from there. While the epiphyte will get that and use sun to produce food. So yeah. Next, my right. A parasitic plant penetrates the host vascular tissue by an absorbing organ called hosterium. We'll see question on this. Hosterium is Haustorium. Next one, they say in which of these association is much harm done to one partner? The clear answer is parasitism. Now let's write. What is mutualism? Mutualism involves two organisms where both derive mutual benefit from each other without harming each other. Do you understand? Next, right? Symbiosis strictly means relationship involving two organisms. Symbiosis strictly means relationship involving two organisms. Number 2 is Z. Number 3, let me run. A student trying to find out the order in which organisms appear on a clear plot is studying one of the following. That student is studying ecological succession option D. Next, an organism X. An organism X live entirely on a waste product. They call them saprophytes. Organisms where they live on other dead ones, they call them saprophytes. So 4 is option C. 5. Which of the following statement is not true of symbiosis? Is not true. Association between two similar species. No, they are not similar. Symbiosis can be between two similar species. One species will be strong in one thing, the other one will be strong in another, so they can form symbiotic relationship, and one will benefit from the other. Number 4. In which part of the leguminous plant can you find bacteria like Azotobacter? The nodule is option B. 6. Actually, no. Right. Azotobacter is a free-living, non-symbiotic, nitrogen-fixing bacteria living in the soil. None of the options is correct. I'm sorry. Number 6, no option here is correct. But I've told you about Azotobacter. Keep that one in your mind. Number 7. The absence of stomata shows that a leaf may be. The leaf may be from a submerged plant. Option B. Number 8. Plants which can survive in place where the water supply is limited, they are called xerophytes. Xerophytes. Number 8. They are called xerophytes. Right. Xerophytes are plants which live in extremely dry habitat like the desert. Example, hydrophytes are plants that live on water or extremely wet habitat like a pond or a swamp. While mesophytes, they live on moderate land like a rainforest. Number 9. Which of the following is not regarded as a pollutant on land or on air? Nitrogen no be pollutant. Number 10. A relationship between living organisms which is mutualistic benefit is called symbiosis. Number 10 is definitely option D. Number 11. An organism found on a bare rock surface has a feature of algae and fungi. This one is called a lichen. 11 is option B. I wouldn't want to give too much note here. Right, algae and fungi are mutualistic partners, and whenever they are together, they are called lichen. It's called lichen, Lichen. The algae are autotrophs, producing the food for the union, while the fungi will provide support. You understand? Number 12. Which of the plant is likely to have broad leaves with thin cuticle? Number 12 is option A. This one. Number 13. Which of the plant is likely to be a desert species? 13 also is U, option A. 14. Epiphytes growing on the branches of tree provide an example of relationship known as commensalism. 15. If an organism obtained its food by means of osteria, it is said to be parasitic, option D. 16. Which of the following relationship involves one organism? Saprophytism. Saprophytism. 17. Which of the following causes pollution? Burning of refuse. 18. Lynching is an example of symbiotic association. 18 is option B. 19. A physiological adaptation of plants to the problem of excessive water loss is reversal of the normal stomata rhythm, option B. 20. I'll be very fast here. Which of the following is a dangerous product of coal burning? 20. This one will cause acid rain, option A, sulfur dioxide. And this is one of the components that cause acid rain. The oxide of sulfur and the oxide of nitrogen, they cause acid rain. I hope so you jot them down. Physiological adaptation to a very dry condition in animals is called dry condition in animals. It's called aestivation. Aestivation. Right. Hibernation is an adaptation to very dry, to very cold and wet condition. So when you see hibernation, it's actually adaptation to a very cold and wet condition. When everywhere they cold and wet, if the animal goes sleep, they call them hibernation. But when everywhere they dry, you don't understand. They call them aestivation. You don't understand. Some animals they sleep when the place too dry. They know if you see something eat, they know if you survive normally like that, they will just go like asleep. They call them aestivation. But when the place is very cold, they call them hibernation. 22. Which of the following constitute pollution? 22 is option B. Loud disco music and pollution. I always like, I see the dog at the background now, pollution, but noise pollution. 23. What do bacteria in root nodules derive from the host plant? 23. They derive protection and carbohydrate, option D. 24. Which of the following is likely to occur in a deciduous forest during the dry season? 24 is option D. The ground becomes bare. 25. Which of these is not an adaptive feature of arboreal life? 25 is option C. Possession of teeth. 26. Sources of air pollutants are sulfur mines, vehicle exhaust, and aerosols, option C. 27. Nitrogen fixing microorganisms in leguminous plant live symbiotically in the root nodules, option A. 28. Which of the following is true of a climax community? It persists until the environment or the climax changes. For a climax community, it will persist until the environment or the climax will change. 29. An example of a plant adaptation to a xeromorphic environment is represented by the development of, that's 29, right? Let me see the options. Fleshly tissue and reduced leaf. 30. Two organisms of different species living in a close association but not dependent on each other are referred to as, they are not dependent to, or not dependent. They are called commensals. They live together but they don't depend on each other. If you say they depend on each other, you go pick option C, which is symbiote. 31. Plant adapted for life in salty waters are called halophytes, option B. 31 is option B. Halophyte. 32. Which group plant would be the first colonizers? The lichens. 32 is option C. 33. Carbon monoxide poison tissue by doing what? 33. Let's continue from 32 organisms of different species living in close association but not dependent. These ones are called commensals. Next one, plant adapted for life in salty marsh, they are called halophytes. Xerophytes, the ones who they live for dry land or deserts. Hydrophytes in waters. Epiphytes on trees. 32. Which group plant would be first colonizers in a ecological succession? Leeches, option C. Leeches is a combination of both. I touched on that leech. A combination of algae and fungi. So they say carbon monoxide, which is CO, poisons tissue by 33. They poison tissue by combining with hemoglobin. 34. The bright color of the comb and feather in a peacock are for courtship. Option C. 35. Ecological succession ends with the climax community. Option D. 35 is option D. 36. Two people suck petrol with their mouth. They run the risk of increasing in their blood the concentration of 36 of lead poison. 37. Breathing root is an adaptation for survival in the 37 is mangrove. White mangrove, don't forget, we talked about that one in the previous chapter. 38. Red coloration on the head of a male lizard helps it to secure its mate. Option C. 39. A phenomenon by which an animal goes into a state of dormancy during the dry activation. Wet one is hibernation. Most students used to misplace the two. Be careful. 40. Colonization on a bare rock surface is termed succession. 40. Primary succession. 41. Environmental pollutants which can walk through the media of water, soil, and air include sulfur dioxide, sulfur oxide. Number 42. The slender, long, and slightly curved beak of a sunbird is an adaptation for nectar. Now, write the following down. Short, thick beak for crushing seed is equals sparrow. There's a bird called sparrow. Sparrow. Next, strong hooked beak for cracking nut is for parrot. The next one, long, slender, pointed beak to pitch wood for insects is woodpecker. Woodpecker is spelled Woodpecker. Woodpecker. The next one, strong curved beak for tearing flesh is for eagle, hawk, owl, and falcon. Falcon is Falcon. Next, the flat groove beak for sieving mud for food is in duck, duck, like duck fowl. Let's continue. So we say that one is an adaptation. Okay. Now, 42. We say 42 is option A. Nectar. All this one where they suck before the rice go form. And then they suck nectar of a plant. Nectar are the part of the plant basically like milk or watery. Some birds used to suck it. Next, scale on reptiles are a feature for conserving water. Option A. 44. The color of the ventral surface of a fish is lighter than that of the dorsal. This is mainly for 44. An adaptation for camouflage. Option B. 45. Toads and lizards in an ecosystem depends on a limited quantity of food. This is an example of interspecific competition. 46. Adaptive feature of plants to desert conditions include thick bark, succulent stem, and stunting stomata. Option A. 47. Which is the most important pollutant of the marine environment in Nigeria? Oil spillage. Option C. 48. Water loss is regulated in plant and animal by both the 48 is the leathery cortical and the feather. Option D. 49. What combination of characters would a prey develop to survive in an environment of its predator? A prey now, which kind of characters you need to get so you will fit survive? Camouflage, well-developed limb, and effective vision. Option A. Number 50. A freshwater plant such as water lily can solve the problem of buoyancy by the possession of parenchymatous tissue. Now let me spell it for you. There's a slight mistake here. No wonder the pronunciation in my mind was not clicking to the spelling here. So let me spell it for you. Aerenchymatous. Parenchymatous tissue. Parenchymatous tissue. Option number 50 is option A. 651. This one's parenchymatous tissue. They have air spaces against hypoxia. Hypoxia is low oxygen. Hyphosia is low oxygen. 51. The biological association that contribute directly to succession in a community is 51 is competition, option A. 52, 53. The birds bill adapted for fishing is labeled the one way there for fishing at this IV. They don't need to tell you, like duck fowl, it's a big fish where. 53. Toes of the feet ending in a sharp curved hook suitable for holding and tearing is going to be for 53. 53 is for B. This one, I. 54. In the whistling pine, leaves are reduced to a brown scale and young stem are green. This is an adaptation for reducing transpiration. 55. The plus sign is used to indicate an association where an organism gains, while 0 is used to where an organism is unaffected. An association indicated as plus and 0 is called where the one an organism gained, the other one the organism is unaffected. 55 is surely option B, commensalism. This is an example. Remora fish obtain its food from crumbs coming from a shark, while the shark itself is not affected positively or negatively. You don't understand? So that type of association, remora dey benefit na one kind fish. In the always, if you see shark, under the shark you go see some small small fishes. They get a certain type wey they call remora. You know if it eat the shark, you know if it cause anything to the shark. The shark no go benefit anything, but him go dey benefit just by being with the shark. You don't understand? Just like that your school friend back then, commensalism you dey do with am. Him no book well. You know they help am read. You know they help am buy book. You know they even dey buy am anything, but you just dey with am. And because you dey with am, if you dey write, you go dey peep in book, which is a bad thing. I don't encourage it, but I know some person wey dey watch this video now, you did that thing. Now you take scale through. Well, you're here now, you better learn in order not to repeat that one. Because in the clinic, you can't repeat this. You don't understand? For clinic, you know if you repeat this kind of thing. Or for where you go take the work. You know, because you want to look at your other colleague, anything you do before you go do. You know, go keep person picking. Next one, the very bright colors in some types of mushroom are that it's a sign that they are very poisonous. So it's called warning coloration. They are warning that they might be very poisonous. Option A. 57. The least adaptive feature for arboreal life is that of possession of four limbs. Option A. 58. The loud cry made by a burrowing hen when a predator is around is meant to warn its chicks and other chicks of impending danger. 58 is option D. 59. An ecological succession often leads to 59. An increase in species diversity. 60. Which of the following are adaptations of animals to aquatic habitats? 60 is gill, scaly scale, and lungs. Option C. 61. Which of the following is an adaptation of forest species? 61. Buttress roots. All those plants wey dem dey forest, they get buttress roots. You could check out the meaning of buttress roots. Buttress root. This root helps for support and to obtain water from shallow level of the soil. I don't talk about and be that. 62. In a group of male agama lizard, the one with the brightest head color is the dominant one. Option A. 63. A certain savanna grasshopper changes color from green during the rain season to brown during the dry season. During the dry season bushfire. The reason for this color change is that the grasshopper try to escape, so grasshopper is avoiding predation. You know what means something can go eat them. 64. Complex social behavior and organization are found mostly in insects. 64. Mammals. Sorry, there's mammals. Mammals. Option D. 65. Which of the following structural features are adapted for uses other than water conservation? 65. Feathers in birds. 66. An association between the root nodule of a leguminous plant and rhizobium species is known as symbiosis. Option D. 67. Carbon dioxide content of the atmosphere is least affected by plant and animal respiration. Option D. 68. The stem of a typical aquatic plant usually has mainly an air cavity. 69. The ability of an organism to live successfully in an environment is called adaptation. 69 is option D. Not verse. 69 is option D. 68, they say the stem of a typical aquatic plant usually has many air cavities, option A. 70, the most important adaptation of xerophyte, those one wey dey grow for dry place, is the ability of the protozoas to resist being damaged by water loss of water, option A. 71, a green snake in green grass is able to escape notice from a predator because of cryptic coloration. 72, for heterotrophic organism, competition is least caused by the inadequacy of light. 73, one of the adaptations to life on trees by a monkey is its possession of digits, which are opsible. This one, 73. Opassable digit e mean say if you don't see monkey before, the hands e dey fit use the hand grab tree, like not big trunk of a tree o, branches of a tree. If you use the hand grab am, the hand go fold through the tree, like fold. Opassable. 74, the community of plants in which the same species occur from year to year, they are called the perennial species, option C, from year to year, perennial species. 75, the supporting tissue of xylem is most poorly developed in the submerged water plant, option C, because there's no need for the xylem, because xylem na the tissue for plant wey dey take absorb water. So when the plant come dey inside water, you no understand, you no really need am. The xylem go dey underdeveloped. 76, animals are restive when the environment in which they live becomes hot and dry. 77, birds which are large with long straight pointed beak, long neck and long legs are likely to be nectar feeders. 78, one example of fossil fuel is coal. 79, the most effective method of dealing with non-biodegradable pollution is by recycling. 80, mycorrhiza is an association between fungi and roots of higher plants, option B. The pioneer organism in ecological succession are usually lichens, option B. 81 is option B. 82, the presence of stunking stomata and the folding of leaves are adaptation to prevent guttation. You don't see plant, when plant they drop water like drop of sweat, they call am guttation. Yeah. 83, spines and shells on animals are adaptation for 83, spines and shells are adaptation for. Alright, we'll continue. They say the pioneer organism in ecological succession are usually the lichen, option B. The next one, the presence of stunking stomata and folding of leaves are adaptation to prevent what? Guttation. 83. Alright, so lichens. 81 is lichens. This one is option D. Spines and shells on animal adaptations for 83. Physical defense, option C. For an example of cryptic coloration is the bright mark on a poisonous tropical frog on variegated leaves. Write the following down. Adaptive coloration include cryptic or concealing coloration, II, warning coloration, III, disruptive coloration, IV, counter shading. Write for me. Cryptic coloration offers a common flag with the surrounding. Warning coloration warns the predator that the prey might have unpleasant features, e.g., bad taste or being poisonous. Next, disruptive coloration involves an animal with stripes or pattern on their body that makes them cryptic, e.g., leopard, tiger, zebra, giraffe. You understand? The types where they be that. So 84, this 84 now option C. 85, the inactive state exhibited by animal during the hot activation. 85 now A, activation. I'd already talked about activation and hibernation before. 86, the association between termites and the cellulose digesting protozoas in their gut is an example of mutualism. 87, one adaptation of reptiles to water loss is the presence of. 87 is option A, keratinous scale. 89. The scarcity of food causes a sudden decrease in population size by bringing about immigration. When food scarce, people will find their way. Jakba, aka Nigeria. Abi? No, that one at 88. Sorry. Sorry. Raising of mortality rate when food scarce. They go they die. Sorry, mortality rate option C. This Jakba, this thing, may God help us all. 88 is option C. 89. Which of the following is an example of intra-specific? Intra means within the same population, meaning between dogs or between goats. Intra-specific competition. 89 is a worker termite and a soldier in a limited space. Option B. 90. Plants survive hot dry condition by storing water in large parenchymal cell. 91. The spot and stripe of a leopard and tiger are example of destructive coloration. Option C. 92. The optimal temperature for breeding cockroaches 92 around 24 degrees Celsius. Option C. 93. At which temperature will cockroach not survive? The cockroach will not survive after 10 days. That 93. They will not survive at 15 degrees. Look at it, they will die down. They die off. See the way the graph go. Next is 94. Evaporation and transpiration are respectively represented by 94. I is evaporation. II is transpiration. This one is transpiration. III is precipitation. IV, this one is surface runoff to the ocean. So 94 is option B. Sorry, 94 is option A. I and II. 95. The main reservoir of water in the circle is the water. The main water reservoir is the ocean. Option D. 96. Secondary succession is much faster than primary succession because 96 is option B. Soil is already present. 97. The recycling method of solid waste disposal is unsuitable for organic matter. 98. A non-renewable alternative source of energy is 98 is option C, nuclear energy. 99. The association in which one member benefits and the other is relatively unaffected is commercialism. 99C. 100. When a peacock displays its colorful feather, it is courting a female. Option D. I'll continue from here till the end in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you've gotten to this place, type JUWIN, you win. Just like I would always say, if you would practice enough, notice the word enough, with a serious feedback or somebody who would correct you, just like you're practicing here now with us, you would win. So I would likely always tell you, you win. Just believe. Bye-bye.